I didn't wake up one day knowing how to grow food. I failed at this a lot before it ever fed my family. This is my garden journey and why I keep growing food. My name is Danielle and I'm a mom of 4. And when I started my first garden, I tried growing corn and green beans and I failed. I barely got anything. Actually, I got nothing. That's the truth. But I started it because I wanted to learn, even though I had no clue what I was doing. Then a couple of years later, in 2021, we bought our new house. I started off with 3 raised beds in the backyard, and somehow I did even worse. That was the pattern for a while. Trying, failing, and trying again. And ultimately, I felt really discouraged. Eventually, I felt inspired by visiting one of my neighbors in her backyard, and she had this beautiful, lush garden, and I was so impressed how she used her space to grow her own food, and it was just beautiful. So I decided to try an in-ground garden, and that's when things started to change. We actually grew food: tomatoes, squash, watermelon, potatoes, nowhere near enough to feed us daily, but enough to make me realize something. This could work. I can do this. So then I tried out some grow bags and containers. I remember growing jalapeno peppers, more tomatoes, more squash, a couple of herbs like rosemary and parsley. And once I saw a little success, something in me ignited. I ordered gardening books because I wanted to learn more. I learned about soil, companion planting, raised beds, and square foot gardening. I stopped guessing and I started learning. So then I added 2 raised beds to my backyard. I focused on easy crops like tomatoes, squash and zucchini, cucumbers, and when that started to work, I scaled. I added 2 more beds and tried out green beans, lettuce, bok choy, peas, and sweet potatoes. Still not enough to feed my family daily, but enough to encourage me and let me know that I was on the right path. Honestly, I was shocked. So then, in 2023, we expanded by a lot. We grew our garden to 11 beds. Some crops failed horribly, like broccoli, but a lot succeeded. I started harvesting more food than I knew what to do with. I had tomatoes growing out of my ears. I had so much squash and zucchini that some of them were growing this big. And that's when growing food stopped feeling like a hobby and started to turn into a lifestyle. Now we have 17 beds and we grow year round. I still lose crops. Like I can remember edamame got completely eaten up by voles. I still fail, like the squash vine borer completely obliterating my squash and zucchini plants. But I don't quit. I learn and I adjust every season. I decided to start growing my own food because the produce that is offered to us is complete garbage. There are constant recalls. I remember watching this documentary on Netflix that went into depth about where the food we eat comes from. And for instance, most of the lettuce in America is grown in California next to cow farms, where runoff contaminates the water that's used to grow it. That lettuce is then packaged up and shipped to us. And that's crazy to me. I grow food varieties that you'll never see in grocery stores, like San Marzano tomatoes or rainbow chard. I love getting outdoors and feeling the connection with nature, my hands in the soil, my feet in the grass. There's nothing like that early in the morning on a nice hot summer day. Those are some of my favorite times, especially with my kids. I love the ability to teach my kids real life skills. You know, when you think about it, learning skills is something that has really gone away, and I want to focus on teaching my children real life skills. I love that I get to control what goes into the food that I grow. I can avoid the chemicals and pesticides that contribute to inflammation and diseases in our bodies. And then the taste and the flavor of the crops that I grow is crazy compared to the produce that you buy in grocery stores. Grocery store produce is bred for travel, not nutrition and flavor. When our garden is in full bloom, it definitely saves us money. Once you get past the initial investment and you start harvesting pounds and pounds of produce every single day, it is crazy how much money you can save. And all that produce forces you to make healthier choices because the food is right outside in your backyard. So you have no choice but to eat healthier. And lastly, when you think about it, everybody had a garden back in the day. Up until recently, everybody grew their own food. And that is something we can absolutely get back to and relearn. Obviously, this didn't happen overnight. It took many years of trial and error because I chose not to give up. It's so crazy to think that just a couple of years ago, this space was just grass. And now I use this space intentionally to not only feed my family, but live a healthier and better lifestyle. Even though it's the beginning of January, I can come out here and harvest some spinach, this little bit of kale I have left, collard greens, and cabbage that's hanging on for dear life. So if you've ever felt the pull to grow your own food, let 2026 be your year. Some seasons failed, some crops never made it, but every single year I learned something. You don't need experience, you don't need a whole lot of space, you just have to start. Thanks for watching, and I'm so excited to take you along with me on my garden journey this season.